Live from the Peterson Events Center on the campus of the great University of Pittsburgh inside Pitt Studios, it's the Pat Narduzzi Show. I'm Larry Richard. Week 6, Coach. Can't believe it's come this fast, and what a whirlwind it has been. So we're kind of halfway through this situation already. But I know it's one game at a time. The situation.
He calls it the situation. There's a lot of people, I tell our kids all the time, there's a lot of people that aren't getting through the situation. You look at Florida and LSU this weekend. 1 minute, Dan Mullen's asking for 90,000 people in the swamp, and the next minute they've got 19 positive, with at least another 10 traced out. So they got some major issues. And, again, it's all over the place. So we're never out of the woods, and we just continue to preach on that. It's a victory every week for us.
In a way, that's a lesson for all of us is, in the moment, one game at a time, which is coach speak, and we get that. But it's really true because you're not guaranteed anything in the world we're living in right now.
I mean, that game could get canceled tomorrow. I mean, that's where we are in this world right now. And our kids have done a great job. We've had a little motto this year. It's called DAT Way, D-A-T way. Our kids kind of laugh at it sometimes. It's details, accountability, and doing it together. And we're going to have to do all these things. I mean, we got to be very detailed in what we do and how we do things, not only on the field but off the field. With what we do when we're in our apartments, what we do on campus, what we do when we go out to eat, and we're all accountable for each other, and we have to do this thing together. One guy that's not together, that strays off on his own can affect the entire bubble, and our kids have really been good.
And what was that experience like? The travel portion for your first road game against Boston College last week?
It was really smooth. Chris Asala, John Ford, and Chad Bogart do a great job of just kind of making sure all the operations are in line. We had a kind of a slow dinner on a Friday night, which the head coach is always like, hey, what are we doing? We got to get this thing going. We got meetings to get to. But besides that, again, it was the servers doing a great job of making sure that they're serving to us, but it just was different than what we do at home because they didn't have any plexiglass between the food and the players. So they were kind of, what do you need? Then they turn around and get the food. So, I mean, if that's the only hiccup we had, it was a heck of a weekend as far as travel.
You spent in a hotel, just your team was present in the hotel. That's different than typical.
Yeah, it is different, and that was really good. I don't think we'll have that this weekend. I don't know how many other people, but even when we're in Pittsburgh, we weren't in that hotel. When we stay downtown, we're not in the hotel by ourselves anyway. So we've dealt with that and try to keep our kids separated. And we don't have, they're either in meetings or they go to their room. It's not like we're hanging out in the hotel.
Well, let's talk about the Boston College game. Boy, another heartbreaker. A 1-point loss. You're literally 2 plays from being 5-0, but you find yourself 3-2. How was the process of going through the game? What did you see in that game as you took that 24-hour period post before we turn our attention to Miami?
Larry, like I said in my presser on Monday, just little things. I mean, it's a game of inches, and everybody can say, oh, it's one play here and there, and that's what it is. But that's life in this game, and it's just every player has an opportunity to make a play, whatever it may be, and we just got to find a way to, in the fourth quarter, make one extra play to win the football game. Whether it's an overtime where they got to kick a field goal, then we score a touchdown, we win. You kick the extra point, you go 2 overtimes, who knows what happens? But there's plays throughout the game where that we can end the game, and for one reason or another, we don't finish those plays, and again, obviously as coaches, we can make better calls too.
I know as players and coaches, obviously the goal is to win. You came up short, but I did notice, listening to your players this week, they seem to understand, though, that you do have a good football team and anything can happen. And they seem really energized for this game against Miami. It's always a challenge with Miami, especially in their home at Hard Rock Stadium.
No doubt about it. Our kids are, again, the one thing I said, win or lose, our kids play with great effort and we're tough. And we have better than a good football team. We have a great football team. Great football teams don't win every game, as we know. But we have a great football team. I'd go to war with these guys any day. And, it's not easy to go down to Miami and play. But our kids are, looking forward to it. We've had a great week, as good a week as we've had practice-wise. So our kids are jacked up and motivated to play every Saturday.
And we're going to hear from Rashod Weaver, big defensive end. He's coach's guest this week, plus former Pitt quarterback Pat Bostic. When we come back, we'll talk about 2 of your players who were ACC Players of the Week. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. and Coach Narduzzi. Let's talk about Servassier Dennis. This is a young man who you kind of discovered up in Syracuse, and he was wondering what he was going to do, and you brought him to Pitt, and he has put himself in the lineup, and now he's really standing out, especially against the Eagles.
You know, Servassier is an incredible kid. He's from Syracuse, but ran into him in New Jersey high school. You know, what an incredible job he's done. He is so smart. He has got a knack and nose for the football. I mean, he is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the ACC the next few years because he's just a baby right now, and he's just going to continue to get better. He is physical. I mean, he's going to be a great linebacker, you know, a guy that's going to play at the next level.
So the defense overall, how did you assess what transpired Saturday?
You know what? When you look at it, we stopped the run, which is, you know, something we've got to do every week. And, you know, we stopped the run. You know, we got after the quarterback. You sacked the quarterback 5 times. You feel like you put enough pressure on him. He hit 2 big plays on us, one in cover 3 and one in cover 4. You know, 2 base coverages for us. And, you know, the one in cover 3, you know, it wasn't a missed coverage, but it was kind of a missed blitz. We didn't have one guy didn't go, which may have put some pressure on the quarterback, which gave him time to throw a deep ball. Very rarely do you see us get beat when we're in 3 deep, and we did. We didn't do a good job covering it in the back end, and the pressure wasn't good enough. And then the 77-yarder was just, you know, 2 things on that play happened. You know, the safety could have bumped the receiver that caught the ball, and our corner could have done a better job at the line of scrimmage of not giving him an inside release. The kid did the receiver, give him credit. He's quick. And he did a great job at stemming him outside and got back inside on him, and we didn't finish the play like we needed to. And that's the game right there.
You talk about stopping the run. Your team leads the ACC and ranks 2nd nationally in rushing defense, allowing just 52 yards. And I noticed Miami against Clemson last week rushed for a total of 89 yards. 84 of those were De'Ara King, the quarterback. That's unbelievable. So from that standpoint, and we'll talk about Miami in our scouting report a little later, but that seems to match up well. And then let's talk about your offense. You scored points. I'll tell you, a gutsy performance. Your quarterback, Kenny Pickett, he got dinged up and going in there on that quarterback sneak, getting the touchdowns, getting those first downs just to get to that point in overtime. I mean, 2 fourth-down plays. Talk about your quarterback's play.
You know, in 2 words, the ultimate competitor, really. I mean, the guy's a competitor. You can't hold him back or tell him he can't play. I mean, he's going to go out there and go. He's going to will that offense, try to get in the end zone. It'll be interesting. It would have been interesting to get into that second overtime, but because we'd have got that ball right back and he'd have been out there. It's just. You know, they did a nice job. I think we did a solid job running the ball at times. We loosened that up. It seemed like our passing game was better in the first half, and we didn't get as open in the second half. But Kenny made some plays with his feet.
Yeah, well, you moved right down the field in the first quarter after BC took a field goal. So it was ultimately a good stop for the D, bending, not breaking, and then coming back and taking the lead. It went back and forth. It was a thriller of a game, though. I'm sure anyone watching nationally that maybe didn't have a stake in it either way, we're like, wow, this is a football game.
No doubt about it. You know, we'd like to have that thriller with the W in our column, though. You know,
understood. One audible, literally at the line. So you have Jimmy Morrissey, your captain at center. Then he moves to right guard because Jake Cradle's nicked up, and then you have Owen Drexel with his first start at center, and he's put in a very important key position. Explain for fans that don't understand what the center does outside of just snapping the ball.
Yeah, well, Drexel's done a great job. You know, Owen, that is, Drexel does a great job of really learning from Jimmy. So it's a credit to what Jimmy has done, for that entire O-line room as far as teaching them this is how you play the game. This is how you communicate. Hey, here's what I see. And Owen's really just kind of, just almost follows him around practice all day long and watches what he does and learns from him. So he couldn't have a better teacher in Coach Borbley and obviously Jimmy Morrissey. And it was, our decision on Thursday was, hey, we're going to start Owen and move Jimmy over to right guard. It was, it was a last-second move there as far as, that goes. And it was unfortunate that Jake went down during the week, but our guys stepped up and it was solid. It didn't look like, the past when we've had injuries like that and made some moves. It was really seamless.
When we come back, star defensive end Rashod Weaver is in the house. I want to ask him about stealing the football from Phil Jerkovic, the quarterback for the Eagles. When we return, you're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. We are back, the Pat Narduzzi Show from the Pitt Studios here at the Pitt on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. And Coach's guest is big defensive end Rashod Weaver, 6'5", 270. One of those Florida players, second only to the Pennsylvania players with ties. Coach, you got a bunch of your guys that have Florida ties. Rashod Weaver, good to see you here.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me here.
Well, why don't we start right there? What was going through your mind as you were getting to the quarterback and you were getting blocked, but how did you do that and steal the ball? That's really a rare play.
I think it started back Louisville week. We had a lot of plays in the backfield where we could have reached, and from that game, Coach Dews and Coach Partridge emphasized us reaching for the ball, getting strip sacks, and that ball is where the money's at, and that's what changes games around. And we practiced that weeks on weeks leading up to that game. And then me and Pat right before that play looked at each other and said, one of us is going to get a strip sack. Like, this is what we do, and we got to be game changers if we want to get to where we want to be at the end of the year. We went out there. Seemed like a bull rush was the best pass rush at the time, and he tried to step up, and I just came over with my outside arm and swatted down at the ball, and it scooped right into my arm. I was kind of surprised too. My eyes were probably huge when I did it.
That was a spectacular play. And how much fun is it for you to work with Patrick Jones on the other side? Because if it's not you, it's him, and back and forth in the pressure you've been able to get most of the season.
It's so much fun. It's everything you want. I think people don't sometimes understand. People might think you want to just be the only D lineman that can make plays on a D line, but when you do that, you want to be productive because the offense will find weak spots. But when you have two guys that can come off the edge and know what they're supposed to do, we'll just feed each other. If someone maybe does get blocked, you could expect the other one to make the play, and that just makes it fun. And me and him, you could ask us on any day. We're never jealous of each other. We get more excited for each other. So when you do that and have the combination, it just can make us look great out there.
Rashod, am I reading this right? That's generally how I see your whole team. You really support each other, both sides of the ball.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because, you have to feed off of each other. This isn't – I say this all the time, it's not basketball. You can't really win a game by yourself. Basketball, you could take over on offensive side and drop 50. Football, you need everybody out on the field, one missed assignment, or if three guys are blocking you, you need to have trust in your teammates that they'll be able to beat their one-on-one and take care of that play.
So you're a Fort Lauderdale guy. You excited to go back home to play at the Hard Rock Stadium?
Yeah. I'm always excited, but I don't really get to enjoy being home. I'm in the hotel focused and then get to play in front of my family and friends. So that's always fun, With the limited stadium, I don't know how many of them will be there, but just to be back, smell that Florida air. It's a little better down there than up here, but yeah, it'll be fun.
You have that salt air. You really do. Hard Rock's not all that far from the ocean, so it's a beautiful natural surface. This is a good football team in the Miami Hurricanes. De'Ara King and then Cozy Perry. So you had King. He was picked twice by Clemson, and then Perry was picked once. Now, they're going to look at the tape on you, and maybe you get in their heads to think, I'm not going to let him steal the ball from me. How do you see this offense for the Hurricanes?
Dynamic. When you got a guy back there like that can move, probably one of the fastest guys on their offense, you got to be controlled in your pass rush and calculated with your risk. Make sure you know your lanes and try to keep him in that pocket so he can extend plays. And I think if we do that, it'll be a good game and it'll be the outcome we want.
Yeah, he was a wide receiver for a couple of years at Houston. Then he transitioned to quarterback. Then he sat and decided to come to Miami. He's having some early success. We hope that you change that, Rashod.
I mean, me too. It's going to be a battle down there, and this defense is coming prepared. The whole team's coming prepared, and we'll know they'll be prepared too. So we expect to battle it out.
Well, we want to talk to you a little bit about just the fact that you're in the game, missing the entire 2019. I would imagine there's nobody happier to be doing what you're doing than you.
Yes, sir. I think it's just everything from the day I got hurt, everything I waited for. After a couple of days, the first couple of days I was down, but after that, I'm a pretty much it is what it is type of guy. I set new goals every day at rehab and knocked them out, and I was good, and time flew by. I got to travel that year, so I coached the guys up on the sideline. That helped a lot.
I noticed that. I really did notice.
Yeah,
you were very much in the game last season.
Yeah, that helped it fly by, and I try to do my best because winning's fun whether you're not playing or are playing. I want to win all the time, and it just made it go by faster. And then coming back this season, everything I did just paid off, and it's everything I worked for.
We're with defensive end Rashod Weaver on the Pat Narduzzi Show. More coming up on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Welcome back to the Pat Narduzzi Show. Larry Richard with head coach Pat Narduzzi of your Pittsburgh Panthers and Rashod Weaver, who's getting suited up again for his star appearance. Rashod, we mentioned you're a Florida guy, so I would imagine, like you said, you don't care who you're playing or where you're playing. You just want to play football. Take us back after missing the whole season last year. You went through a process of trying to get yourself back on the football field and be here, and then COVID hits, and nobody knew exactly where we were going. We still don't 100%. How much do you appreciate being in the moment and being able to do what you love?
Appreciate it greatly, be where your feet are. When everything was happening during the summer, I just try to stay positive and keep working because I knew I would need to be ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, and that was my motto. And I was focused, and I knew the ACC would get us to play, and they did, and I was ready when it came.
Yeah, a lot of people that weren't sure this was going to happen, and as Coach pointed out each and every week, it kind of plays into what coaches always tell you is, one game at a time, right?
Yes, sir. With COVID, it's changing by the hour, changing by the minute, so you just got to be ready to change with whatever it is, whether games get canceled or the season gets started later or you have some test mix-up and have to miss a game, whatever it is.
Well, you have a bright future to play on Sunday, certainly in the future. But just you're a graduate, Katz Business School. What would you like to do down the road and utilize the education you got here at the University of Pittsburgh?
Down the road, make so much money I don't have to work. No, I'm just like, I don't know, maybe invest or something.
You know what? That's not a bad theory if you can do it.
Nah, do something. I did go to school for business, so figure out a way to make, money with some type of company, whether it's investing or being part owner of a company or something like that. Something you can make money in your sleep. That's my goal. When you're making money in your sleep, that's when you got it down pat.
I've heard that before, Coach. I'm working on it, making money while you sleep. But if your plan plays out, you'll have plenty of money. Maybe you just manage your own money.
Hey, I'll do that too. I don't need to pay somebody to do that for me.
And Casey Garrell has 10 questions of a player each weekend. This pregame coming up at 10 on Saturday. Kickoff is at noon in Miami. She's going to be talking to Servassier Dennis. And one of the questions we ask, Coach and I see if the players share the similar musical tastes as we do. So let's ask you, what gets you pumped up for a game? What do you listen to?
Before a game, I listen to Fredo Bang.
Me too.
Sometimes
Frito Bang.
Fredo Bang. Sometimes I listen to some old 50 Cent, like Many Men, stuff like that. Anything that I just feel like puts me in a mood and go out there to just destroy the person in front of me.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're doing a heck of a job this year again, and I know there's nobody on that football field that's happier to be where you are. Final thoughts when you think about playing the Miami Hurricanes?
It's always just to go 1-0, go out there, put out the best film I can put out, and put on for the name on the back of my jersey and for the name on the front.
And after the game, looking forward to, disappointment, but how do you keep fired up and get ready for that next one?
I think just like you said, you got to appreciate the next one. It's easy to get fired up when some schools aren't playing or didn't think they were going to play and you were out for a whole year. It's easy for me. The night before a game, I'm laying in that hotel bed excited, just thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow, every snap, what pass rush or run, how I'm going to take on a run block and to make a play every play.
Rashod, it's fun to watch you play football, and we especially like how you stole the ball from the quarterback last week. You got $1 million smile. You got a bright future. Good luck against the Hurricanes.
Appreciate you.
The big man, defensive end Rashod Weaver. And when we come back, former Pitt quarterback Pat Bostic, and we'll break down the game, the X's and O's with the Panthers and Hurricanes. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network.
We got to be smart. We have to have poise. What? One, two, three.
Back on the Pat Narduzzi Show inside the Pitt Studios, and we welcome former Pitt quarterback and Associate Athletic Director of Major Gifts, Pat Bostic. Hey,
what's up, Larry?
How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good. Nice shirt.
Thank you. We didn't get the memo, but we're wearing, ironically, the gray alternate shirts. These look really good, too.
I called Cindy this morning, asked her what you were wearing. So
I liked Rashod Weaver's T-shirt, Coach. That's a good one. You
Really
don't,
is.
you don't have that one,
today.
do you?
I don't know if I've got that one or not. I haven't really checked. I'm one day at a time, man. I wear whatever's in my locker and don't shuffle it around unless I'm coming to see you. Then I try to dress up a little bit.
But you're looking good, and you can see the Pat Narduzzi radio show Fridays at 4:30 and Saturday mornings at 10:30 on AT&T Sportsnet, and we thank them for that. Sean McClintock and his group do a great job. So, Pat, Kenny Pickett, what a warrior. I just saw that he has the most completions of 20 yards plus downfield, 16 in the entire country. He's numero uno.
There are more stats coming out in football today than I can ever remember. With that Pro Football Focus stuff has a stat for like every subset of the game. The bottom line is he's playing well. I mean, he's thrown for over 1,300 yards. He's playing at a high level. He's proving that he's going to be a draft pick. I mean, that's the reality of it. And whatever the stats bear out, I think it's just reflective of him taking the next step as a player, which he's done.
Well, let's talk about what you need to know about the Miami Hurricanes, brought to you by PNC Bank. Make today the day. Pat, how do you see the Hurricanes? They lost their first game against the number 1 ranked Clemson Tigers. They seem to be overmatched for most of the game, really, but they've got a lot of athletes on this 3-1 team.
Yeah, they always have really good players, and this team's no different. I think the thing that's different about them is their offense. Obviously the quarterback, De'Aaron King's dynamic. He's a little guy, but he can throw it and he can run and gets out of the pocket, makes plays. And they're just so up-tempo, which is a departure from what they've been in the past. And I think, they're more confident as a football team because they feel like they can score points. In the past, they were kind of hitting their head against the wall, trying to score more than 20. They feel like they've got a dynamic offense now. They certainly got playmakers. The tight end's a really good player. Jordan Mallory, the backup tight end's a good player. Obviously, they got Harley and the group outside. So they got players. And, obviously they played a very good Clemson team and fell short, which a lot of people will. But I think this Miami team's different because of what they have offensively as opposed to years past.
Yeah, and you talk about Miami, Manny Diaz, the head coach in his second year, he made some changes on the offense. And as you pointed out, Coach, you have seen them get to the line really quick.
Yeah, Rhett Lashley's running their offense. He was at Auburn for a long time. He was at UConn, then really made it down there, and he does a great job offensively. He'll scheme you up. Again, they're snapping the ball somewhere between probably 8 and 15 seconds most of the time. Third downs, they'll rotate whether they'll snap it quick or not. So the first third down, we're worried about even being able to sub and get our nickel package out there. So we've got to be careful with when we sub. But they're going to try to go fast, and they'll go up to 8 plays in a row somewhere. I mean, which is a lot. Now again, I think eventually they're going to get tired too, so it may work to our advantage. We're going to be in condition. The goal always against these tempo teams is out-condition them. We're going to be waiting on them to get lined up, and that's the key.
Miami is a great red zone team. How do you match up and try to prevent them from getting 6 instead of settling for field goals?
Well, I think the big thing is, they're a great running team. I mean, they like to run it about 60% of the time. So Cameron Harris, their tailback, number 23, is a guy who can catch it out of the backfield. He can run it. He's very dynamic inside. Their favorite run play is an inside zone, so he's hitting it downhill. Our guy's going to have to be gap sound and be physical at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, it helps to have a quarterback that can run down there too. I mean, he's an added element that even in a small area, if you can even up the numbers, it makes it more difficult to play defense. And he's like a running back. I mean, back there.
He is. When they get down to red zone, they'll run some quarterback zones. But, I don't know if he really wants to run it that much. He would rather throw it and hand it off to Cameron, to be honest with you.
I would too.
He's not and again, we're going to try not to give him a zone read. If we play our defense the right way, we're letting him hand that ball off so we know where the ball's going. We really don't want to play catch up on the edge with him.
And let's flip the chart and talk about the Hurricanes defense. So they're loaded with a lot of talent and athletes too. Pat, what do you see in the Hurricanes D?
Some new faces, really. They got some transfers over there. The Roche kid from Temple playing defensive end. Obviously they got the big boy on the other side, Phillips. Yeah. Bubba Bolden's a safety playing at a high level. So they play a lot of man coverage. And I think they trust their DBs and corners, and they think they're going to get to you before you can get rid of the football. So, they're a test. It's a pretty similar, mindset for the receivers this week you had a week ago. Press man, and you got to win against one-on-one.
Coach, you went through a tough week, but another opportunity ahead. The Miami Hurricanes, they always give you a good effort, and you stole their season 3 years ago when they were number 2 in the country. So how do you feel about Saturday's game?
I feel really good. We've had a good week of practice. Our kids are ready to go. We've put last week behind us, and we've moved forward, and I really feel good about where we are going into this game. We know Miami's going to be athletic. We know it's going to be a physical game. They will be ready, and we'll have to match their speed down in South Florida and come back with a W.
Pat Bostic, we'll see you here at Pitt Studios on Saturday, ready to call the game, pregame at 10.
It's going to be a big one.
Coach Pat Narduzzi, good luck against the Hurricanes.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it.
And we want to thank our executive producer, PJ Kamanchik, Amanda Soleil, producing here at the Pete, Cale Berger back in Master Control, plus his game day contributions, Pitt's Casey Garrow, and Pitt's Paul Bartow and his team do an outstanding job with all of their productions. Kickoff is at noon. It's Pitt, Miami on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Larry Richard saying, hail to Pitt.